Hello. I've decided to do a live video. I have no idea what I am doing. It's my first time ever, but I kind of wanted to make a stream about rejecting life and how to embrace it. And I guess this revolves around my current experience with having anxiety towards life because I was not trusting it. And yeah, just kind of wanted to get into it. Um, what was I gonna say? INFJs, I think we spend a lot of time in our mind, um, not necessarily in the present moment, in real time. I think that's why we like to be alone, right? We like to explore infinite possibilities that life has to offer. We like to think about what could be, what should be. Um, And we also, I think, are hypersensitive to energy inside of ourselves, energy outside of ourselves. And it's a lot to process. It's a lot to process. It can be scary. And I think a lot of times we just kind of shy away from it. We shy away from life as it's happening in the moment. And I think it creates a huge disconnect, and that's why we feel so isolated and so alone, is because we're not necessarily participating in life. We're just kind of like pondering possibilities and engaging and indulging in our imagination. So, yeah, let me see. I don't even know where to start, really. I just know that last month I experienced panic attacks in waves for a whole month. And I think the first 2 weeks were the most extreme. And it was really hard to deal with. It was really debilitating. And I didn't know what was happening. And I was trying to understand it so that I could apply a remedy to anxiety and panic attacks. Ultimately, I came to the conclusion that it's a fear of life. Like, it's your inability to trust life. And you know it's the first time I actually reached out to um, garner support from people outside of myself. Usually I isolate, and I think we all do this. We isolate. And yes, that's good, but it can also be bad. Everything in moderation, right? It's all about the balance. But I actually allowed myself to get support from friends and from coworkers, which I highly appreciate. And it was very helpful. And it also, I know, like I said, anxiety and panic. Um, Basically, you enter a sphere of life that is flight or fight mode, and you feel like you're like fighting with life. And even though I consider myself a pretty optimistic person, I had a really like good opportunity to really explore my inner dialogue and what I had been really telling myself over the years. And um, even though I seem optimistic, and I feel like I can be optimistic, there's a lot of like, yes, emotions that were being repressed. And I think they were repressed over a extended period of my life that I was refusing to acknowledge and refusing to take responsibility for. And for instance, I don't know if you'll agree with me, but for some years now, I've been extremely tired. I guess tired because my expectation of what is actually happening around me and what I idealize is not in alignment, right? So, um, heavily disappointed and very, I guess, resentful, I guess. I mean, let's be honest with our feelings and with ourselves. I mean, I don't think you can make any leeways in life if you're being dishonest. But you know I was suppressing a lot of emotions and pushing a lot of things away and trying to like be overly optimistic, almost like toxic optimism. And I was also hiding behind like people pleasing tendencies and being a niceaholic and giving, giving and giving and giving. And then when I wasn't receiving, I would play the victim card. And, it's just like this endless vicious cycle of just, I don't know, trying to navigate through life, you know? But, anyways, yeah, the anxiety and the panic, like we could see it as something very negative, but in actuality, it's giving you an opportunity to shed old belief systems and old habits and old patterns, and to kind of like reveal more of yourself that is sincere and true and authentic and unconditional. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we are really afraid of life and what's happening in the moment, and we're not embracing it. And we have a tendency to ostracize life and ostracize ourselves from it, and then kind of escape into sleep or isolation or our intellect or our feelings, instead of actually like acknowledging what is and being okay with it, being okay whether it's, you know, we perceive it to be good or bad or comfortable or uncomfortable. So I made this whole video. No, I didn't make a video. I made an audio, a 16-minute audio, and I couldn't figure out how to like download it to YouTube, but I thought it would have been useful information. I just don't, I'm not technologically savvy enough to do so. Hello, Jeffrey and Andy. Adventure. Self-reflection. Yeah, I agree. It, I think it's a good subject matter, to just kind of like analyze the self more. But anyways, so I was having during my anxiety and my panic attacks, it just kind of like helped me to like release old habits and bad patterns and behaviors that I was indulging in unconsciously, you know. Let me give you an example of some of the things that I discovered that I was repetitively telling myself over the years. I was saying I was tired of life. I wanted to get out of here. Like, I can't wait till this is over. I mean, super negative stuff if you think about it. And it's definitely a way to reject life instead of embrace it. And, you know, being that we have the choice to choose what we want to focus on, I was definitely indulging in very negative thought patterns and behaviors and dialogue. And I wasn't even aware of it because I was too busy, you know, putting on this like overly optimistic facade when I interacted with the world. But when I retreated and retired to my own space, I was constantly cycling these very toxic thoughts. So yeah, I mean, it's something that I feel like you need to be aware of in order to take the next step in healing yourself and knowing yourself. And yeah, I think a lot of us have a lot of trauma that we've experienced from our childhood, or even before while we were being developed in the womb. I think we have also adopted a lot of like toxic things and from our parents and from our ancestors. But yeah, you have to deal with it. And I think the first thing is acknowledging it and then taking responsibility and being accountable for what you've been telling yourself this whole time, the story that you've been believing and what you've been seeing, because I've made videos on this before, but basically what you focus on is what you will see more of. So like I was fooling myself for a number of years, for most of my life, thinking that I was this happy person and I was very helpful and giving. But my internal atmosphere was very dark, and I was refusing to acknowledge that dark side of me. And I think we need to do more of that in order for us to move forward in life. Yeah, same. I'm just only discovering that I've been telling myself that I'm tired of life. And it's really, really disturbing to me, but I feel like the past few years of my life, I've been just cutting myself out, cutting myself off from participating in life. And we do that, right? Anytime anything feels uncomfortable, we have a tendency to isolate and cut. But the panic attacks taught me to be okay no matter how uncomfortable something felt. You know what I mean? Instead of running away or feeding it with more fear, it taught me to just kind of acknowledge it, accept it, and know that there's nothing to really be afraid of. I think we're afraid of feeling uncomfortable things, but I think that life is a contrast of, light and dark and good and bad and, you know, comfortable and uncomfortable. And to be honest, I feel like you have the greatest opportunity to grow and to know yourself when you are placed in a place of discomfort. Anytime you're comfortable, you don't want to move. You just kind of stagnate and just kind of like sit still. But, you know, anytime you feel discomfort, I feel like that's life's way of pressuring you to become more of who you are. You know what I mean? And who are you? You're not like your body, which is another interesting topic. I was thinking about this is off the wall, completely off the wall, but I was thinking that this is a simulation. Like we're playing a game, and what we believe to be ourselves are actually avatars that we've created. I don't know, I'm not like a full-on huge gamer, but I know, like, for instance, like Sims or something, you can choose whether you're a male or female. You can choose the clothing you wear, the type of hair you want to um, have, and your height and your body shape and your skin color. So I feel like you know this is a simulation. And we have created these avatars or these characters, and we're just kind of like beyond this. We're probably out of this. We're actually playing a game, but here in this current dimension of reality, we forgot that this isn't real and this is just a game, and we're just kind of like moving through it based on what we want to learn and what we want to create. That's really weird. Anyways, sorry. Turbine. Hi, did any insights come from therapy or self taught? I think a little bit of both. Because naturally, I'm a very curious person. So, if something comes up in my experience that I don't quite understand or feels uncomfortable, I have a tendency to want to understand it. So I'll go out there and I'll dig for like information that resonates with me. There's a lot of information out there, so you have to be careful. Like, yeah, you just have to be careful. Like, there's a lot of information out there, and you don't want to adopt or blindly believe someone else's opinion or theory on something. I don't know. I just kind of go with my gut and what feels right and what resonates. But I noticed, like, when I was doing my research, there's, I want to say, this is just like a rough number, 90% of the information out there was just garbage. And I really had to dig deep to like find stuff that was useful to me. You know what I mean? I also, through like just kind of like, I guess you could say meditation, I've learned to like kind of like clear my mind, and I've allowed myself to receive insights, that are helpful as well. I think we all have the ability to do that. We just have monkey minds. We're in this world and we're doing stuff and doing stuff and doing stuff and getting, pulled in a million different directions. It's really hard to really see clearly because you're being pulled in so many directions. You dilute yourself and you become very fragmented. That's why I think meditation is such a useful tool. It actually brings everything together, so you become this clear channel to receive information, from a higher source versus, this particular plane. Um, huh. Jeffrey, yes, I understand. I am working on the isolation thing as well. I have a good friend that is a INFP, and we have very similar dispositions. And I had a really, really engaging and, I don't know, insightful conversation with her. And we both agreed that we all do the same thing. We isolate. I think it's to protect ourselves. I think because we've experienced so much trauma throughout our lives that we feel unsafe in this world. And so anytime we're triggered by anything that feels uncomfortable, we have a tendency to run and hide, because I think, we don't really like conflict, right? I'm getting better at that too. And that's a thing. Like, I put a lot of, um, I guess, attention, like what, like as I like have these life experiences, anything, anytime anything uncomfortable comes up, I have a tendency to want to sit with it so I can learn what I need to learn from it. And yeah, like I try to discover my blind spots and my weak points so that I can actually work on strengthening those things, Because they're probably like weak muscles that I just have been neglecting for a very long time. And I just need to give them my attention so that I can strengthen them and I can navigate through life in a more, how do I say, pleasant way. Yeah. And it's okay, I think you have to move through life in phases and degrees, and wherever you're at, it's okay. You can't be too hard on yourself. But you also want to acknowledge that if you're stagnating, it's probably time to shift yourself into something. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. Like I said, I'm not technologically savvy, and I made an audio recording, a 16-minute long one, and I thought I could just upload it to YouTube and then put a thumbnail on it, and I was very unsuccessful. Ooh, sorry, somebody is sawing in the background. That's very, very, very loud. Anyways, somebody asked me what my ethnicity is. I have a bunch of stuff. I actually joke around and say I'm everything. Aren't we all? Aren't we everything? We are comprised of many elements, and yeah. Um, I don't know. Does it matter what my ethnicity is? I'm a human being. No, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And what you're seeing is just my avatar. Oh, okay. Did the sawing stop? I don't know if you guys are the same, but loud noises just kind of like play on my nerves. Anyways, um, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. I can't believe I've been talking for almost 20 minutes. Um, anyway, I hope you have a great evening or a great day wherever you are, and thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know if I was thorough with this recording. I kind of there's so much things I want to talk about. And then I always lose track of what I'm saying, and then I talk way too much. But it's okay. Jeffrey, let's get over the isolation. Let's start participating in life more often. Yeah. Anyway, signing out. Have a good one. Bye.